This is SpongeBob's Doodlebob, the most evil and most misunderstood soul in Bikini Bottom. Doodlebob is introduced in the episode Frankendoodle, which starts with an artist drawing on an easel on a boat in the middle of the ocean, which really makes no sense for like a million reasons, but it gives us one of SpongeBob's best episodes, so I'll let that slide. Anyway, the artist's natural clumsiness means that the pencil slips right out of his hand and immediately sinks into the ocean, which means that the pencil is actually super heavy. I don't know what this artist is doing, man. So we immediately head down to Bikini Bottom, where we find SpongeBob and Patrick playing rock, paper, scissors, and Patrick just keeps losing because all he can do is play paper. But before SpongeBob can say anything about it, the artist's pencil drops right between them. And what's really interesting here is how huge the pencil is, which means everyone in Bikini Bottom must be tiny. Even Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, who are supposed to be human? Anyway, SpongeBob and Patrick immediately freak out when the pencil drops to the ocean floor, but they get curious enough to want to try it out.
Let's draw some giant pictures with it.
What you drawing?
So SpongeBob uses it to draw a jellyfish, which immediately comes to life and starts swimming away.
Do you know what this means, Patrick?
Your art can never hang in a museum.
When SpongeBob draws a mustache on Patrick, that also starts to float away,
Easy come, easy go.
briefly landing on Squidward's head and making him feel like the charming, classy guy he always felt he was.
All you need is a full head of hair!
So SpongeBob and Patrick come to realize that the pencil is magic, and anything they draw with it is going to come to life. They create a freaky little Squidward creature, but it's so grumpy and miserable that Patrick erases it.
We can't let him go into town.
Remember that, because we're gonna come back to it a little later. They draw $1 on his welcome mat and then draw a line leading around the outside of the house, and Squidward completely falls for it. Like, he doesn't even think about it. He just instantly believes someone left this money for a perm. He even says, "Come to Harry," as if that's his name now. Man, Squidward, you're making it hard to defend you. As soon as Squidward reaches for the dollar, SpongeBob and Patrick pull it away, laughing as their next-door neighbor face plants the floor and loses his monocle and his hair, which then floats away. But the two of them don't even realize how upset Squidward is, which is kinda messed up. Instead, they come up with an even bigger prank for him.
Wait, I've got another idea.
SpongeBob sketches Doodlebob, a drawing of SpongeBob that will come to life and fool Squidward. If I'm being honest, I don't really know how they think SpongeBob's terrible 2D drawing would mislead or confuse Squidward, but anyways, Doodlebob comes to life and somehow has the ability to make weird chicken noises.
Quack, quack, quack.
Doodlebob knocks on Squidward's door, but before anything can happen, Doodlebob beats the hell out of Squidward. Like, seriously beats him up, which is pretty crazy because he gets genuinely violent. And this is where the show tries to make Doodlebob look like an evil character. SpongeBob tries to stop Doodlebob, but he's immediately knocked out by his own creation, who steals the magic pencil and disappears into Bikini Bottom to cause more trouble. So now SpongeBob knows he has to put an end to his Doodle's reign of terror, and the only way to do it is to get the pencil back. So, SpongeBob and Patrick go hunting for Doodlebob and find him in a crudely drawn pineapple house exactly like SpongeBob's. Doodlebob's very first drawing is a near-exact replica of SpongeBob's own house, which suggests to me that he wants to be exactly like his creator and probably live a normal life. But instead, his creator has done nothing but yell at him and use him to torment other people, so of course he's gonna be angry and upset. When SpongeBob and Patrick head toward the house, they fall into a whole trap drawn by Doodlebob, who pretty clearly seems determined now to defy his creator and live a life of his own. And also, notice how for the first half of the episode, Doodlebob is only attacking Squidward and Patrick? He drops 2D wrenches and bowling balls on Patrick's head and goes all Hulk on Squidward. But SpongeBob just gets the weird, strained gibberish. I think that's a clear sign of some kind of affection there. Doodlebob escapes yet again with the pencil, leaving SpongeBob and Patrick in the trap hole. But they manage to find him in Bikini Bottom, having magic pencil fights with nobody. Man, he's actually just like SpongeBob. But then Doodlebob finds them and breaks through a rock, even though he's just a 2D drawing, which is weird. But again, this is a kid's show, so let's not question it too much. But as soon as Doodlebob finds SpongeBob, he grabs him and hurls him halfway across the ocean floor, which admittedly is a pretty evil thing to do. But in Doodlebob's defense, his creator is chasing him around, trying to erase him from existence. So we can argue this is self-defense. Also, can we just take a second to appreciate how they drew Patrick in this moment? I just love Goofy Patrick. Anyway, Doodlebob prepares to continue his chaos, only to discover that SpongeBob has found the pencil, allowing him to erase Doodlebob entirely and bringing an end to the whole thing. Now, I have to admit, even though I think Doodlebob is an innocent little guy, this was a pretty nicely played move by SpongeBob. Like, it's murder, yes, but he gets the job done and even hails himself as SpongeBob, Destroyer of Evil! Which is about 20% less extravagant than SpongeBob usually is. But SpongeBob and Patrick think they won the fight when actually, Doodlebob isn't dead, because SpongeBob forgot to erase his one remaining arm. Rookie mistake. That night, SpongeBob brags to Gary about defeating Doodlebob, but admits that he was like a son to SpongeBob, which I think confirms, again, that Doodlebob and SpongeBob basically have this weird connection between them that's much deeper than good versus evil. Anyway, SpongeBob goes to bed with a pencil, which is, honestly, I don't even know what that whole thing is about. But outside, Doodlebob's disembodied arm has somehow found its way back to SpongeBob's pineapple, even though it doesn't have eyes. So the creature breaks into SpongeBob's home and makes his way up the stairs and goes to the bathroom. Again, I don't really know what the heck he was doing in there, given that he has no other organs than a hand. Anyway, Doodlebob's arm manages to grab the pencil and redraws his entire body, basically reviving himself from the dead. But when SpongeBob wakes up, he immediately knows that this isn't good. And I think this is really where I want to make it clear why I think Doodlebob is not evil. This whole episode, the guy just wanted to live, but he was made purely to irritate Squidward and has spent the rest of the time just running from his inevitable fate. Now, he actually has a chance to take out the very guy who brought him into this world and is actively trying to take him out, and he does take that chance. So Doodlebob and SpongeBob get into this massive fight, which even sees Doodlebob taking out half of SpongeBob's house. At one point, SpongeBob tries to hide, but Doodlebob just erases the door and takes SpongeBob's pants with it. And then he erases SpongeBob's butt cheeks. Like, bro, what are you doing? You've gone too far with this. You never erase the square cheeks. So SpongeBob finds himself cornered by his own creation and unable to really do anything to fight back. Doodlebob erases part of SpongeBob's nose and then starts erasing more and more of him until our SpongeBob is basically just a Picasso painting. And weirdly, he doesn't look so bad. Like, I actually don't mind this weird version. He looks like the world's friendliest piece of cheese. But while Doodlebob is enjoying the ridiculous sight before him, SpongeBob tries to steal the pencil back, and in the struggle for it, they split the pencil in two, with Doodlebob getting the eraser and SpongeBob getting the pencil lead. So SpongeBob redraws his own body, giving himself his arm and his leg back, and I gotta give it to SpongeBob. He's been making some pretty solid decisions throughout this episode when it comes to fighting Doodlebob, but then he somehow manages to lose the pencil for literally no reason whatsoever because the guy just cannot seem to catch a break. Unable to fight against the terrifying Doodlebob, SpongeBob gets cornered against his own bookshelf and is forced to watch as his new enemy gets closer and closer, but then Doodlebob steps on a piece of paper and gets his leg absorbed into it. And this is where the writing of this episode is so perfect. Because remember at the beginning of the episode where Patrick just kept losing at rock, paper, scissors because all he ever played was paper? Well, paper is actually what wins here. SpongeBob realizes that, grabs a book, and traps Doodlebob inside it, getting him permanently transferred onto the paper. Honestly, this episode is pretty solid. The next morning, Patrick arrives to find out what the commotion was last night, despite him not even bothering to come and check when it was happening. Like, Patrick is fun, but honestly, he's not much of a friend. But the two of them know know that the pencil is extremely dangerous, so they work to throw it back out of the ocean and into the boat of the artist above.
My pencil!
But when the artist goes to draw, the pencil lead snaps, because man, that's just the life of an artist who insists on sketching on a boat in the middle of nowhere. I genuinely love this episode of SpongeBob. It's so well written and weird, but super fun at the same time. But I always feel for Doodlebob because I don't think he's as evil as the show tries to make him out to be. To me, he's just a little guy who was brought into the world to cause trouble and then ended up being punished for it. I mean, sure, he tried to kill everyone like over and over and over again, but it's not like SpongeBob hasn't gone on some kind of maniacal spree now and then. That's just life in Bikini Bottom. I don't know, man. I just really like cartoons.